The key about strategy is that if you stick to it, you would win. Or you will stand a better chance of winning. But if you do not stick to it, you will not win. So welcome to today's session, the clarity session with Mo, right? Clarity session. So today I'm having a very special person. We are trying to dissect his business and look at ways to build strategy around what he's doing, build structure for his various 3 businesses, right?
Yeah.
And then build a framework that will help him execute differently. Because what I'm looking at is that the 3 different businesses would actually have 3 different kind of structures, 3 different kind of strategies, and the frameworks will be different. So our goal is for this session is just to make sure that it aligns with what he wants to achieve with it, and also we are able to give him actionable steps, strategies plus tactics for him to be able to deliver upon the things that he wants to do. Because at the end of the day, it's more than just getting strategy, it's really about getting the result. And when it comes to results, it's about impact and the money. So hopefully in the next couple of minutes, hours, we'll get to it, right?
Yeah.
What I do with the clarity session basically is just to have conversations, very open conversations where I get to learn everything about your business and everything that you think you're struggling with and everything that you think you want to achieve. So once I get all of that in perspective, I get to understand, okay, this is where we should start from. If we are starting from the strategy, this is how we should build the strategy. This is what, because it has to be something, when it comes to strategy, it has to be something that is you. Nobody would ever be you, and nobody can take you, right? Every other person is taken, they always say. You're the only one left, so you have to take yourself. And once we understand the things that are important to you, once we understand the things that are true to you, we now use those things as pillars of the brand to build a perception. Those things will now help build perception and drive it into the hearts of other people, so that the things that you believe about yourself, in extension, the things you believe about your business, your photography, can align with what other people believe about you. Because whether or not you are intentional about it, people have a perception about you. So you rather just be the one driving it than them just being the ones feeding their minds with whatever perception that they have about you. Yeah, so you can, like I always use the example, you can say you're a luxury photographer, but people don't think you are. Because people are picking up on vibes, people are picking up on messages, communication, it could be formal, verbal, and non-verbal communication. So people are picking up on those clues. And you can say you're something, but you're giving up vibes that you're not that thing, you're something else. So the essence of the clarity session is to make sure that all of those things aligned, then we find ways of communicating it and now messaging it in the things that we do that will now affect the kind of clients that come into the door, how we onboard them, the kind of service we render to them, how we now empower them to talk about your brand. Because for word to spread, you need to empower the people that have experienced it for them to talk about it. And we need to find the best way to empower your kind of clients to talk about what you do, so that you can leverage on their integrity in their spaces. Because if I hire you and you deliver, there are people that are my friends and in my circle of influence that will need the same thing. And if you're able to make me talk about that service, that's giving you the credibility that I have. So you now have that leverage upon my credibility on my own kind of circle. Yeah. So we need to build in such a way that when people see you, the thing that you see about yourself. You know, most times people will not get in contact with you to have a conversation. It's on the places that they first of all get in contact with what you do, where your portfolio is being displayed. That's where they have that, okay, this guy is like this, maybe this guy is like this. There are people with 5,000 naira will never go to. Not that those people put their price tag on their Instagram page, but when you just look at their page, you just say, my money cannot fit this, right? It's a perception, right? So we need to figure out how to build that so that it will affect the kind of content that you put out, whether it is photographs, whether it is videos on Reels, whether it's testimonial videos or feedback videos, or you're trying to do promotions. You need to understand which one would drive your messages per time. Are you looking to be more discoverable, or are you looking for awareness? The strategy would help you understand which one works for which per time, and then give you tactics to drive it. Because what people mostly call strategy is tactics. They say post 2 times a day. Posting 2 times a day is not a strategy, it's a tactics. The strategy is about what are you posting? What do you want to derive from what you're posting? That's the strategy. But posting 2 times is the vehicle that delivers the strategy, which is the tactics. So we are not worried about making reels. You can make reels, but you're making reels for photographers. Of course, you can make reels, but those reels are for photographers. You need to understand who you're trying to make the reels for. Because if you're making reels, you're showing, packing up your gear, you're swapping your lenses, setting up your lights. Basically, you're trying to communicate to photographers because clients barely understand the things that we use. So you need to think about it from a perspective of how can we communicate directly to the people we are trying to attract. That then brings us to who are the people we want to attract. Because if you do not know them, you won't know how to communicate with them. And if you don't know how to communicate with them, you will not even get them. And if you don't know them too, you don't know how to position, because positioning is key in what we do. If you cannot position yourself, you cannot communicate, cannot message, you will not get them. So the whole essence of the strategy is to make sure that we understand what we do. We understand who needs it. We understand where they are so that we can position. We understand how to communicate with them so that our pitching will be more powerful. Then we understand what value means to them. That way we'll be able to sell them. Because value means different things to different people. So you need to specifically know, for this business, this is value. So this is what we'll communicate. For this business, this is value. This is what we'll communicate. And these are the avenues, which now the tactics, the avenues that we will communicate it. We will communicate it on social media using Instagram, maybe Facebook, or we'll just use LinkedIn profiles to communicate it, or we'll do videos, long form content, or we'll do short form content, or we'll just do photographs, all of those things. Or should I hire a copywriter? All of those things are like the tactics. Because if you don't get the call, what will you now tell the person that you hire? So people will now be posting what they think they should post, but not what aligns with the brand that you're trying to build. So once you know the very core of the things you want to build, it's easy to now bring other people on board because you now know the vision you're selling. Okay, this is what we are trying to achieve. This is how you could do it. How you now perform or edit or organize the creative, which is maybe the pictures, the videos, depend on you. But the real message should be centered around the goal that we are trying to drive with time. Does that make sense? So that's basically what the conversation would be about. So we go for strategy, right? So for me, strategy is very simple. Do you watch football?
Yeah.
What team do you support? Manchester United. Barcelona, perfect team to use. So he's a Barca fan, right? So I want to use 2 examples to drive home that point of strategy, right? Barcelona is known for tiki-taka, right? That's a strategy. Pass the ball around till your opponents are tired. That's all you do. And every time they do this, it becomes easier for them to win. It's not like they are going to win, but the more they stick to their plan, their strategy, the more chances they have to win. But then there's the Roma game. Do you remember that game?
Okay, yes.
And then there's the Liverpool game. Do you remember that game? So these two games shows you how strategy works and how if you fail to do it, you don't win. In the Roma game, they started with the tiki-taka. They played, but the Roma team was so disciplined to also play their own strategy, which is sit back and block. Soon enough, the tiki-taka boys got tired and frustrated, and they started playing the long balls. And immediately they left the tiki-taka and started playing the long balls. The Roma now did the counter-attack. And that's how they won. Same thing with Liverpool. They came the first 30 minutes, they played their game. But Liverpool played their own strategy of the counter-attack. Very solid blocks, chasing the ball, high press, up and down. Once Barcelona lost the idea of their strategy, Liverpool came and they won. The key about strategy is that if you stick to it, you would win. Or you will stand a better chance of winning. But if you do not stick to it, you will not win. There are two things in life, especially when you're trying to get you to your goal. So there is, there are two things. There is obstacles and there is distractions. Obstacles and distractions. So let's go back to the Barcelona thing. The obstacle was that with their tiki-taka, they could not break down Roma. It's an obstacle. Obstacle means that you have a destination, but something is blocking the road. If you persist, you could get around it. If you persist at it, you just move to the other side and continue your journey to your destination. But distraction means that instead of this road to be blocked, the road is not really blocked. The road has some other roads. And other people are going there. So when you drive towards this point and you see the distraction, you think, maybe there's a traffic delay here, maybe I could just go here. But going here does not take you to your destination. This could be in photography, for example. You have your strategy of getting to this point. The obstacle is that you're not able to get the client that can pay you for you to get to where you're going to get to. So you are not driving enough leads to give you more clients. That's the obstacle. But the distraction is that you are seeing other photographers in other genres doing other things and making money. So you think that's the shortest way to make money. So instead of you to stick and find out how do I develop and bring more leads that will get me the kind of clients that I want to get me to my destination, you decide to go the route of these other photographers that are doing stuff. But at the end of the day, what that is doing for you is distracting you from pursuing and getting to your destination. So when it comes to strategy, once we decide on the things to do, we are also deciding on the things we don't do. So strategy is not about the things you do alone, it's about the things you don't do. Because once you say, I am doing this, it also means that you're not doing this. But what most people do is that once they get to that roadblock, they decide to face the distractions, not to tackle the obstacles. Does that make sense? And you've seen it in your business every time. Someone is like, let's say a photographer that gets his clients from referrals, but he's slow. But he now sees another photographer that is getting clients from sponsored art and now decides to pay more money on the sponsored art, and at the end of the day, doesn't get the clients. But he has wasted time, wasted money, wasted resources right here on the distractions. The goal is to get across whatever obstacle and get to your destination. That's the goal. But the strategy is built on the things that are true to you as a person. That's how I want to build it. This same strategy can work with what we call brand strategy too. Because at the end of the day, what we are trying to do is to build a brand. It will work with brand strategy too. Strategy, finally, using the football experience again, is deciding on the field that you want to play. That's one part of the strategy. You decide on the field you want to play in. You decide on the field you want to play in. That's one. Number two, you decide on how to play on that field. You decide on how you want to play on that field. Does that make sense? Once you're able to do those two things when it comes to your strategy, your goal, you need to decide which field you're going to play in and how you're going to play in that field. The strategy is about, first of all, deciding, are you going to be a specialist or are you going to be a generalist? Meaning, are you going to build a personal brand type business or are you going to build a business brand type business? Because once you decide you want to build a personal brand business, that is being someone that is specific, it means that you're not going to be a generalist. You can't say, I want to be this and then do this. So once you decide on which one you want to do, you then know that the other ones, you are not interested in it. Whether someone else is making billions from it, it's not your business. Does that make sense? So once you decide on that field, you then decide on how you want to play in that field. How you want to play in that field will come into the money part. How you want to play in that field will come into how you onboard your clients. How you want to play in that field is how you deliver your services. How you want to play in that field is what would stand you out. The things that are most important to you as a person, which will now influence your brand. These are the two core things around everything that you do in the business. You make a decision on which field you're going to play in, and you make a decision on how you to play it. The brand people will say, you make a decision on how you're going to show up in the world. Showing up in the world is about showing people what you do and how people can note what you do. That's the branding. That's what we call branding. It's about perception. And you can't build the right perception if you're not decided how you want to show up, how you want to play in that field. Does that make sense? So I'm building it from the very little ones, then we go from small to top so that the ideas now sit well. Does that make sense? Yeah. So these are the two things that it's about strategy. We can go on and look at photographers in Nigeria, outside Nigeria, that have decided the field that they want to play in. A lot of people have done that. We mentioned Kelala, decided the field they want to play in. We've seen people that build personal brands where they want to play in. The Said guy, where he wants to play in. The Beige, where he wants to play in. And every other person. And you, if you look at it, with this whole thing they've learned now, you've realized the problem is that you didn't decide how you wanted to play in that field.